Time now, Jeff Siegel, for our Travers Stakes preview. Of course, you can download the wager guide at first.news.com, and you can go to the wager guide section there and check out the Travers Stakes wager guide from First Bet and Express Bet. All the handicappers, all the artificial intelligence, the XBTV workouts, stats and trends, everything you want to handicap the Travers. We're going to look ahead here on It's Official to the Travers Stakes coming up Saturday at Saratoga. $25,000 in money back specials and in hit and splits, I should say, over the course of the Saturday card at Saratoga when you bet with First Bet and Express Bet. So a lot of incentives to get involved. Again, $25,000 in hit and splits. Look at those pick fours. Look at those fives. Jeff's partners are already calling him right now to get in on those hit and splits. They want to put tickets together. That's one of them, all right. So, Jeff, let's talk Travers Stakes here. The big picture, we know the top three finishers from the Kentucky Derby expected in the starting gate. Rich Strike, you've got Epicenter, you've got Zandon. You throw in the Preakness winner, that gives you a big four. Then you throw in the only two-time Grade 1 winner in this crop right now, which is Cyberknife, who won the Arkansas Derby and the Haskell. You've got a big five. This is a very, very good edition of the Travers Stakes.
And it's good because it's competitive. It's not like it's good because we got one great horse and a bunch of horses that are going to make them look good. I mean, as a gambler, you can look at a number of these horses and say, I like him because of this, or I like him. And it's a horse race. It's a real throwback to some of the races we enjoy racing, where you see 5 or 6 contenders and you can see a gamble on any one of 5 or 6 and feel confident at least you're going to get a run for your money.
Let's go back and watch Epicenter in a little bit of training this past week, a week or so ago, with Clairiere, who's going to run in the Personal Ensign. She may be the leader in the Breeders' Cup Distaff division amongst the older horses. Epicenter working in company. We'll talk a little bit about Epicenter as the fans get a chance to watch this workout. The work not so much as important as the horse himself, Jeff. Your take on Epicenter as he's been dancing all these dances and never misfires.
Well, not only is that true, but this was a good work. And I think that it's after having a series of hard races and being in training really, again, without a break since last year as a 2-year-old, you're looking for some kind of drop-off maybe. Maybe he's not as sharp as he used to be. Maybe he's not quite as strong or in the same kind of form. I don't know, Jeremy. He looks pretty good to me, especially when you consider who he's working with.
Right. They both look good in this work. And, Steve Asmussen's horses not known to flash huge times on the clock in the morning. So it is about visuals and watching them and how they're doing it. And as you had mentioned with Echo again, the first time started, you could see the talent before that horse made its debut last week without just looking at 47s for a half mile on the clock. Certainly what we see from Epicenter here sets him up well for the Travers. You talk about horses, how they're coming in and out of races. Let's switch now to look at early voting, working in company here with the Chad Brown stablemate. Early voting, of course, the winner of the Preakness Stakes, second jewel of the Triple Crown this year. And he's a horse who took a step back, quite honestly, Jeff, in the Jim Dandy. He got the lead that day. He wasn't under heavy pressure, and he still gave way. Now, you might have wanted to take a big stand against early voting coming back in the Travers at 1/8 of a mile longer from the Jim Dandy. And when you had Charge It in the race, you thought that those two could really lock up and get after it. But with Charge It's foot abscess forcing him to scratch out of the Travers Stakes before entries were taken, could we see early voting loose on the lead again? And is this work good enough to propel him from that disappointing Jim Dandy?
Well, I think that's the only way he can win. But the good news for early voting is that he may have a little bit less respect this time because of the fact that he was beaten last time. So he might be able to get a little looser on the lead than he was before. Mm-hmm. This works okay, but they only go 49-3. I mean, he went fine, but when you're going 49-3, you're supposed to look fine, right?
Right.
So I don't think it really means anything. But I think early voting has a chance to be a little fitter than maybe that he was in his last race. That will help. And the fact that I don't think anybody's going to worry too much about him, that'll help. So I think he'll run better. But whether or not he's good enough to beat this group going 1.25 miles, even if he gets that uncontested front running trip, as he probably needs, although in the Preakness he did sit second. I don't know. I'm kind of off him a little bit. I think I got him at the right time when we liked him. We both liked him at 5-1 in the Preakness. Neither one of us liked him in the Jim Dandy, and he ran accordingly. So I'm probably going to assume that he's going to be where he wants to be, but I'm also going to be assuming that there will be horses that will be right behind him that can outkick him, especially going 1.25 miles.
Well, the horse who got the most kick of all on Kentucky Derby Day was Rich Strike, and this is a horse who did not come back in the Belmont Stakes to replicate that effort. Different circumstances here as he comes off the longer layoff, Jeff. Here he is coming down the lane in what is a pretty zippy workout for him at Saratoga a couple days ago.
He's a good workhorse when he wants to be, and he's being niggled at just a little bit, but that's fine. I mean, you want him to finish up in 59 and change, and this is a good solid work. This would lead me to believe that he's ready to run as well as he can run. The question is, Jeremy, is he a one-hit wonder? I mean, you cannot take the Kentucky Derby away from him. No. I mean, I know he had a fast pace and all that, but he flew home, and I'll forgive him for the mile and a half. His style isn't conducive to that. I don't know. But if he can run back at a mile and a quarter to his Derby win, if you just took that at face value and the way he's working here, which is absolutely nothing wrong with this work at all. It's a good work. I mean, the only thing about him is can he win from off the pace in a race that may not have a lot of pace?
Yeah, there's not going to be a lot of pace in here. That's the question. I'll stand by the fact that something wasn't right with him after the Kentucky Derby. I mean, that's why they skipped the Preakness. Yeah. I mean, to me, then he did not run well in the Belmont, and we haven't seen him since. So there was something that took some time. We heard about the chiropractic stuff and that. There was something that took some time to get this horse right, and they knew it was going to take some time. That's why we haven't seen him since June. If they've got him right now and he's back to what he did in the Kentucky Derby, he could surprise some people. The last horse to win the Kentucky Derby and the Travers 2007 Street Sense, also with that big style. Street Sense, no one-hit wonder, but a lot of people thought he was just the Churchill wonder. But you forget that he won the Travers Stakes. He wasn't just completely a Churchill Downs phenom like that his form suggested. So it's not out of the question that he bounces back here and runs a big race in the Travers Stakes, but he is not going to get a proper pace setup for his style unless some other horse goes out to the front that doesn't look like it on paper. We expect the pace to be set, by early voting. Maybe Cyberknife is a horse who could show a little bit more speed. Again, we said this is a two-time Grade 1 winner of the Arkansas Derby and of the Haskell. When he won those two races, he was 2 to 3, 4 lengths off the lead. If he gets up there into the press mode, Cyberknife's a talented horse to make him run for a while, and he's not just like cheap speed. He's a legit contender for Brad Cox, the only trainer in the race looking for back-to-back wins in the Travers. He won it last year with Essential Quality. I'm not so sure this colt is as good as Essential Quality, but he's not bad, Jeff. His Kentucky Derby is the only big blemish on his resume, and you can go back all the way to like last November, December, into January, and when they interviewed Brad Cox and said, who do you have for the Derby? He said, I don't have much this year. I don't have much except Cyberknife. He knew this was his horse a long time ago, long before it took him to get all the way toward the end of the Louisiana Derby series, I believe, and into Arkansas to get into the stakes ranks, but he has always been high on this horse, so maybe Cyberknife's the X factor.
Maybe. I don't know how much of an X factor he is because I think he's a really good horse. And he's grazing well here. I mean, he's doing everything that you'd expect a good horse to do, other than that one poor run in the Derby. I'm not as big a believer in stats as you are, Jeremy, but I respect that part of the handicapping scheme. And we haven't seen a Haskell winner come back in the Travers since Point Given in 2001. So it's been a while. I don't know whether if that means anything or not. It might just be random or whatever it is. But would I be surprised if he won this race? No, I wouldn't. I'm picking against him just because I don't know. I mean, he had a hard race in that race, and I just would like to see. Put it this way, I'm going to go with a different horse because I think he's a little fresher and coming up to the race better. But if you were or anybody wants to get into debate about Cyberknife and why he should or shouldn't win the Travers, I'm going to step out because I like him as a horse. I think he's a great looking horse. But I have to figure out between now and Saturday why I'm not keen on him, and I can't put it in words yet. I don't know what the word is. Maybe it's that Haskell streak. Maybe it's something else. But it has nothing to do with how good I think the horse is. Colt's really, really good.
We'll tease everybody to check out that first and express bet Travers wager guide for Jeff's final analysis, my picks. Eddie Olczek's got the handicapping analysis for the Travers race. We've got all of our handicappers from XBTV and across the spectrum from Gulfstream and around the country. So a lot of thoughts going into that Travers wager guide and final picks. Jeff, do you want to go on the record now, or do you want to hang out for another day?
Oh, I'll tell you what. I've got a horse we haven't even mentioned. So,
well, let's bring it.
Okay, I'm going to do now. Recognizing that I know this horse has never run a race good enough to win, but that's what 6, 8, 10 to 1 shots are made of, right? Because they haven't done it yet.
Right.
I love the way Arturus is coming up to this race. He reminds me so much of Arrogate when he won the Travers. He was 9 to 1 because he had never won a race at that level. But I thought he hasn't won one, but that doesn't mean he can't win it. Arturus has only had 3 starts. Every race he's run, he's won much better. I loved his race in the Curlin. I know it's just a restricted stakes, but he's got that great stalking second flight style. He'll run forever. And oh, by the way, he is by Arrogate. So, and Chad Brown and Judmont, and by the way, and I think if Irad Ortiz gets into a stretch duel in the last 16th of a mile, and he's got 5 horses to beat on both sides, he'll wipe them all out and win. So, or find a way to do that.
You didn't go there, did you?
No, it's a joke.
I don't want a blinking number in the Travers. I don't want any numbers blinking on the board.
I agree. I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm being sarcastic for all the people who think he is a little bit too rough. If I'm betting on him, be as rough as you want to be. But anyway, Arturus, to me, has a really good chance to pull off an upset. I'm not completely committed to picking him until it shows up in the guide. But right now at the price, I'm kind of leaning towards the fresh face because I'm not completely convinced. And Jeremy, you can do all the convincing you want. Maybe you'll win me over. But I'm not really sure that the Jim Dandy was that great a race, even though Epicenter sure looked good winning it. But I don't know. We'll see.
I just like Epicenter's consistency. I know he's going to bring his race, and it might be good enough for second again. But I just trust him more than I do any of the other 3-year-olds in the rock right now.
I mean, you look at his form; he's as consistent and as genuine as you can possibly be. You're going to get Epicenter. The question I have is: are you going to get a better version of Epicenter, or you're just going to get Epicenter? I don't know.
Well, if Artorias is Arrogate, they're all running for second. So the AR part of it, he's got that down. If he
I don't think he's Arrogate, but he might be good enough to win here.
For more on the Travers Stakes, be sure to check out the blog section, expressbet.com and news.first.com for our wager guide.